Hello guys, this is Sivam Echao. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we'll be learning how to make this simple pleated skirt with elastic waistband. I went ahead to pair it with this corset I made in my previous video. We'll put the link in the description below so you can check it out if you're interested. But for now, let's get right into the skirt making. So I'm going to start by drafting my pattern for the skirt. This pattern is going to be used for both the front and then the back. So I subtracted 1 inch since I'm going to use a 1 inch elastic band. So I subtracted 1 inch from my waist to hip measurement. Mine is 8.5. So minus 1 inch, I had 7.5, and that's what I marked. So we have our hip line and we have our waistline. And then we have the length of the skirt if you want it into a short skirt. So I mark my waist measurement plus 2.5 or 3 inches allowance. Then on my hip, I mark my hip divided by 4 plus 2.5 or 3 inches allowance. It depends on how free you want your skirt to be. It shouldn't be tight. And I mark the same, my hip measurement plus 3 inches. We are going to be extending the skirt into a long skirt on our fashion fabric. I didn't want to waste the pattern paper. You understand where we get there. So you join the hip to the length of the pattern paper like so. Then we are going to cut it out. Very simple, very easy. You can make this skirt, I promise you, in less than 6 minutes. I'm not exaggerating actually. So we have our pattern paper ready. Let's assume this is the back pattern. So we are going to use this back pattern for both the front and then the back. So I bring in my fashion fabric. Like I said before, it's an already pleated fashion fabric. It already has pleats in them. So I mark my length of the skirt, but always remember to add extra because these materials tend to shake, and then by the time you sew them, sometimes you have excess or shortage. So you see on the waistline, I added about 3 inches extra. Okay, you do same for yours. Always make sure when you're working with a very shaky material or fabric, you add extra allowance. It really helps so that you can just trim off the excesses instead of having a shortage. Like they always say in fashion, it is always better to have excess than shortage. So we are going to cut it out. You see, I saved my pattern paper by making it shorter, but on the fashion fabric, I cut it into a long skirt or a maxi skirt. So after cutting out the pattern, you're going to use that pattern to cut out another pattern. So we're going to have two, one for the front and one for the back. So I've gone ahead to cut 2, that is the front and then the back. So we are going to place good side facing each other, making sure your side seams are going to align because it's very difficult working with such fabrics, and make sure you pin if you're a beginner. So we are going to sew the sides with 1/2 inches allowance. On the sewing table, like I said before, we are going to sew with just 1/2 inches allowance. Be very careful when you are sewing with fabric like this. Make sure you take your time. Because you're going to pay back if you don't take your time by ripping it off and redoing it again. So you take your time, make sure the seams or the side align very well. Then you go ahead and sew. So I've gone ahead to sew for both the left and then the right, and when you flip it over, this is what we have. So at the waistline, like I said, I have a little bit of excess. So you're going to fold your fabric into 2, or your skirt into 2 like this. And then you are going to trim off the excess at the waistline. So we are going to cut out the excess. So after cutting out the excess and making sure that your waistline is now equal, what you're going to do is now determine the type of elastic you want to use. I have a 2-inch elastic and then I have the 1-inch elastic. The same way you attach your 1 inch is the same way you are going to attach your 2 inches. But here I'm going to be using a 1-inch elastic for my waistband. If you are into ready to wear business, make sure you sew the side with an overlocker and then a matching thread, okay? So you watch what I'm doing. So for the waistband, it's your waist minus 1 inch. Then you're going to sew just as you see me doing. After that, flip each of the allowance onto the nest or onto the elastic and then top stitch it to secure it in place. So after doing that, we are going to mark 4 points on the elastic. So 2 is going to be for the back and then the front, middle or center, and then 2 is going to be for the side. So I've gone ahead to mark the 4 points, and then you fold your fabric like this and notch the center for both the back and then the front. Very easy, very simple. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Let's help my channel grow. And then you're going to align each of the indicated mark on the elastic on the point you've indicated on the skirt. Very simple and very easy. So you hold them with pin, then you're going to sew. So as you sew, you stretch your elastic onto the next point. When you get to the next point, you stretch it again. Sew with just 0.25 inches, okay? So when you get to the next, you stretch, you stretch, you stretch until you finish, okay? So you're going to do this with an overlocker if you have one. It gives a neater and a better look. So now my elastic is attached. Sometimes you can just flip it over and top stitch, but no, I'm going to maintain the elastic. I love the look it gives. So now let's hem the bottom of the skirt. We are done, I promise you, my guys. This is the easiest skirt you can ever make. So just hem the skirts like so. Thank you, my subscribers, for subscribing to the channel and helping my channel grow. I hope you share to your friends who are interested in sewing. And then if you are new here, welcome once again. I hope you enjoy your stay. So after hemming the bottom, I decided to pair it with this asymmetric top I made. Very beautiful, you see, very easy on the body, not too tight, not too loose. I hope you try it out. Bye.